I hear it all the time, guys.
OnlyFans is too saturated to make money fast.
Not fucking true. Right now, I'm gonna break down how one of our creators started from scratch at the end of October 2024 and scaled her account to over 50K in net earnings per month in less than 4 months. It only took about 2 months. I'm gonna go over the exact things that allowed her to grow this fast, from what she did as a content creator in terms of her content to what our strategy was to get that traffic in and increasing the amount of revenue that she was making on her account. Now, when it came to this specific instance that I'm about to talk about in this video, it came down to 3 different phases of what led to our success. Starting with phase 1, which was the fact that we had to find the right model to work with. The biggest mistake that agencies make is just taking on any creator that comes their way. Not everyone is a good fit for fast growth, and if the creator isn't aligned with the strategy and vice versa, we aren't aligned with the creator, the whole process becomes a lot more fucking challenging. She actually already had a relatively established Reddit presence. Due to her successful content and the quality of the content that she had, it just wasn't being monetized to its maximum potential, and also wasn't being properly marketed and broadcasted on other forms of social media, like Twitter, for example, or Instagram, or anything else really. But this is why this creator, who we scaled to over 50K per month in less than 4 months, was the perfect fit and was the right creator to work with. Number 1, she was fully committed to the quality of her content creation, and we were able to expand her reach and visibility through our agency-dependent marketing methods in addition to what she already had established. Number 2, she had the right look and a very, very, very unique niche that made her stand out over the other random, standard, thirst trap BS you see online. And number 3, she followed a process without hesitation. No second guessing, no wasted time, and less content creation fatigue. And so once she was identified as an ideal fit, then it came to phase 2, which was all about brand development and positioning her content. So before scaling, we worked together to come to the understanding that we needed to position her brand properly. She was already off to a hot start herself with her Reddit following in terms of overall engagement on her content and also the style of her content, but she wasn't generating traffic from anywhere else and also wasn't monetizing her traffic properly, and ultimately reusing that content that she had for Reddit on other platforms. This is the biggest reason why some creators stall at a few thousand per month while others skyrocket to 6 figures per month. Some of the things that we understood when it came to working with her was that she had a well-identified self-created niche. She didn't just post random content. Everything had a clear theme and made her content and brand highly recognizable. And from there, we optimized her social profiles and grew them, whether it was growing her Twitter through Twitter drops, or creating and growing her Instagram through paid marketing like boosted shoutouts, or even making a FetLife account for her and growing that to huge levels. Every single social platform pointed towards her funnel, and we made sure her bios, highlights, and posts were designed to lean into her niche and convert. And then all of this naturally led us to phase 3, which is when we established a content monetization strategy and optimized the overall funnel. In this phase, our combined success began to really get realized. However, it was also in this phase where we had to make sure everyone, both on our side here at the agency and also the creator side, stayed very, very focused on the fact that the content strategy is literally everything when it comes to scaling fast. Here's what we did differently. On the OnlyFans side of the house, we really focused on the profile and messaging to all align within her niche. The real money is made in the chatting and the upsells and the DMs. And we had to have our absolute A game when it came to this, so we could capture the maximum amount of revenue from high amounts of traffic that we were about to funnel to the account. We built a really good and well-structured messaging strategy on OF that maximized the return that she got from her explicit content. Then, with Instagram and TikTok, we focused on high viral potential, creatively niche-specific videos while staying within the guidelines, of course, of both of those platforms. Then with X, or Twitter, we had a really strict posting process, and we enrolled her in Twitter drops, which are essentially boosts of engagement, and got her from 0 to 50K followers on Twitter in literally just a few weeks. And then lastly, we got her set up on sites like FetLife or Erome, and several other more niche traffic methods to maximize things everywhere. But now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump in and tell the rest of the story and actually share my screen and show you a little bit about what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right. So here's the account, guys. This is the account that I was talking about. She's currently a top 0.29% creator. And as you can see here, this is the all-time earnings on the account, right? She started on October 20th, 2024. And today is March 6th. So that was about 4.5 months ago from right now today. And there's a couple really interesting things that I want to point out right as soon as you pull up this page, right? This is the all-time earnings, remember. So there was a point where she was running her own account. And she was doing well, as good as you can when you're running your own account on your own. It's hard to run your own account on your own, let's be real. But she was doing relatively well. Like I said, she had that Reddit following that she was doing well with, but at the end of the day, the monetization wasn't there to the level it should be. And there's a very obvious point where we took over the management and the chatting of her account, right? We started working with her about 7 days before we actually started chatting. So we didn't necessarily start working with her on December 8th, but we did start working on some of the marketing ideas and some of the strategy behind the chatting about 7 days before. But there's an obvious point where we turned on the chatting and she started making a lot more money. As you can see, maybe her biggest day was like $700 right here. And then we took over and she immediately had a 3K day, right? And a lot of this was just us being able to monetize the traffic that she already had in her account, of course. So, you know, I don't necessarily want to take that away from her, but there's also something to be said for adding fuel to the fire, right? Turning on traffic, getting traffic pushed to the account here, okay? But, you know, a big part of this, and let's actually look at the overview here. A big part of this is the majority of the money being made on the account is, of course, the tips and messages, right? One really important thing, I'm going to talk about this in a second here, but chatting ratios, people like to look at chatting ratios a lot. It's like, oh, like what's your chatting ratio, right? In my opinion, and what we look at the agency, is that chatting ratios are not really a good metric to base an account's just overall success based off of. You need to be looking at the LTV or the lifetime value of each fan on the account, okay? But I'm actually going to zoom in here to the most important part of this account. Right now I'll set it to the all-time earnings still. I'm going to actually zoom this into the day that we started working with her, which was December 8th all the way until today, March 6th, okay? So now we're zooming in to only the earnings of what she did. So if you look down here, if you look at all the months, you look at all the breakdowns, okay? You'll see October, November, December. We started working with her December 8th, remember. So she basically had a 50K month, December, the very first month we started working with her. If you consider the fact that she didn't start till October, the end of October, that means she made a 50K month literally within 2 months of starting her OF. That's what it's all about. It's all about maximizing on your niche, finding something unique, and then just going all in on marketing as much as you possibly can, right? This is a creator who she's seeing consistent success, right? January, 56K. February, a little bit of a shorter month, 44K. March, it's the 6th day of March right now. She's already at 9K. There's going to be a lot of continuous success here on this account, right? It's not going anywhere anytime soon. That's the really exciting thing about working with this creator. And like I said before, the main thing that we saw with this creator is that they were committed to their niche and committed to their content, and we were committed from our side to make sure that we brought as much traffic from as many different places by utilizing that high quality traffic from everywhere, right? So this is a really important thing that I want to talk about here that I just mentioned. But now let's go back to what I was just talking about, right? So we talk about chatting ratios and we talk about the LTV of fans, right? And this is why having chatting ratios and judging an account based on chatting ratios is not an effective way to gauge the success of an account, right? Because an account with a $3 subscription price is always going to have a better chatting ratio than an account with a $6 one or a $10 one or a $15 one, which I believe this account has a $15 subscription price, right? So that's the really important thing to understand. So if you calculate this out, the way to calculate out a chatting ratio is you calculate the tips and the messages versus the subscriptions, right? If you combine these two, it's about 130K, just rough math right now, right? And you divide that by 26, 1, 2, 3, you get about a 5 chatting ratio. That's the chatting ratio. People look at that and be like, your chatting ratio is really shitty. Well, you didn't factor in the fact that this is a high subscription account, right? Really, really important. So what you need to be looking at instead is you divide the fans by the amount of revenue, right? So you come over here and you'll see the total number of fans within this specific period of time. It was 8,536, okay? So then you come back over here and you say, okay, so 8,500 divided by total amount of revenue, which is 154K. So, and you'll get the lifetime value of each subscriber by doing this calculation. Every single subscriber that comes onto this page is worth $18. That is what this means. That is a successful account. And everything that goes into this is super important, guys. It comes down to a lot of different things, but you need to have the chatting in line. You need to have the ability to monetize the content in line, and you need to have the marketing in line, and you need to have consistency on both sides. And you get success like this. This is where it all comes down to. This is how a new creator who started 4.5 months ago is now making quite literally life-changing money. If you take out the percentage of what we take, she's making a lot of money out of nowhere almost. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the things I wanted to talk about here. Appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.